Magic makers, and welcome back to the Metaphysical Apothecary. We are your hosts, Shannon and Megan.
Hi, everyone.
Also known as the Scorpio Sisters, here to explore the mysterious, the magical, and the arcane.
Today we're going to be talking about dreams, where they come from, possible reasons why we dream, and how we might pay attention to and use our dreams.
I guess we should start with the brief explanation of the science. It's a mess.
The science is a mess. During our research, we discovered that no one agrees. Everyone who has studied dreams as a science disagrees on why they happen, where they come from, and why they're necessary.
Yeah, there's not any two places that seem to have a corresponding thought process in any way, shape, or form. So that was fun.
It was fun research.
That was fun research. The basic scientific gist of dreams is they happen during your REM state sleeping stage. You have about 3 to 4 dreams any particular night. You may not remember them, but you do always dream. You are paralyzed during that state of dream, and you will remember the dream more vividly if you're waking up right after a REM. They've done some MRI studies on dream and dream states, and it appears to be that dream states will cause more activity in your hippocampus and your amygdala, depending on the intensity of your dream.
And the more intense the dream, the more activity in the amygdala, correct?
Yes, at least that's what the study showed. The amygdala is the part of the brain that
controls the fight, flight, or freeze response.
And it deals with intense emotions, particularly intense emotions that are remembered, memory storage. You have a nightmare, your amygdala more likely to be engaged because fear is a strong emotion.
That makes a lot of sense. What about the hippocampus? What does it regulate that dreams sort of light up that area of the brain?
The hippocampus is where we store most of our memories. Some dreamers will pull memories from the day or the week or the month and replay them in different scenarios.
So dreams there's nothing that appears in our dreams that is not already stored in our brain. It's not pulling on new information or new experiences that we're having during the dream. These are all experiences or visuals that we have either experienced in the physical world or we've imagined.
For the most part, depending on the type of dream and the type of dreamer. There are dreams that you might get prophetic dream where there's a new scenario that's being presented to you that you won't realize is happening until the next day, next week, next month. They're prophetic. You don't think about it, it happens.
That's one of the pieces that mainstream science has trouble explaining. That's where some of the disagreement comes into play, right? So there are things that we don't necessarily remember encountering or things that have not happened yet, but then do happen later, sometimes even months after the fact, and we remember having dreams about them.
Yeah, my prophetic deja vu dreams will happen years in advance. There is no way I would know this conversation on this day would happen except that I did years ago.
There was a case that you told me about when we were in college together where you dreamed the entire plot of the movie The Glass House.
Yes, where I thought The Glass House already came out and I was convinced that it was a remake. Exactly. I've never watched The Glass House.
There was no need for you to.
No,
Basically, every human being dreams. We know that most animals also do.
Part of the problem with the science side of it is that they can measure what's happening to our physical bodies while we're in the dream state, but they can't measure or perceive what we are dreaming. They have to rely on us to come out of that dream state
And
and write
anyone
it
who
down.
has tried to do this knows how difficult it can be to remember your dreams. They start to fade almost immediately after we wake up.
It's all a big mystery. We don't know. So we're kind of in this limbo state of we dream, we sleep.
Exactly.
I don't know why. Aside from the scientific study of dreaming and sleeping, there are psychological theories and what it does for us, for our mind and our mental health. One of the first psychologists that actually looked at dreams and the pattern of dreams was, of course, Freud. His thought process was dreams are a state of which we go to resolve repressed desires.
We all have to keep in mind that Freud, while his work was important, mainly focused on abnormal psychology. So he didn't necessarily have a model what healthy psychology was supposed to look like. He had a lot of thoughts on that, but he didn't really have a firm model or a firm grasp.
Well, he was one of the early stages of psychology and psychology looking at dreams. So he really didn't have any opportunities to create more than his model of why we dream and what does it mean. And you have Carl Jung psychology that states dreams are a way for your unconscious mind to communicate with your conscious mind.
Which, in terms of psychology and looking at the general population, both with and without mental illness, makes a lot more sense.
There's a lot more leeway in Jung's perception and theories on dreams and the unconscious mind. He used art to try to figure out what people were seeing in their dreams so that way they can better interpret them. And he allowed for the dream state and the dream interpretation to be real, which was groundbreaking at the time. You were being told that these are nothing more than dreams and you need to move on from them, whereas he was allowing the dream to be as real as the person needed them to be.
Jung's approach to allowing dreams to be real, a real experience for people, was not only revolutionary, it was a healthier way to look at dreams and dreaming because it not only validated people's reactions to dreams, which can be very traumatic or can be very comforting depending on the subject of the dream, but it also echoed the way that our ancient ancestors viewed dreams and dreaming. They viewed it as a sacred, spiritual experience.
And a necessary experience.
Yes. And they viewed its purpose as being integral to everyday life. If you had a dream that frightened you about someone doing something that was illegal or violent or would cause them harm, very often that was taken very seriously and action was taken to try to prevent the event that the person had dreamed about. Jumping off of Jung's fascination with ancient cultures, our ancient ancestors, as we stated previously, took dreams very seriously. The Aboriginal cultures in Australia referred to the spiritual realm or the magical realm as dream time. And it was an extremely sacred practice to enter dream time.
Still is Aboriginal tribes and cultures in Australia.
I honestly don't know much about it beyond understanding that that is a sacred practice for the Aboriginal people, and I don't feel qualified to teach anyone about it. So
a little tidbit of inspiration.
Exactly. If we look at in the Old Testament and also in the New Testament, but mainly in the Old Testament, dreams and interpretation of dreams played a hugely important role in the cultures depicted in the Bible. Joseph interpreted the dreams of the Pharaoh as there being 7 years of famine and 7 years of plenty, and helped Egypt stock their larders to prepare for famine because the Pharaoh had a prophetic dream. And of course the Pharaoh, they were considered gods on earth. And the dreams that they had were considered messages. So the practice of dreaming and interpreting dreams played a hugely important role. There are many, many examples, but since this is a pagan podcast, I'm not sure how interested everyone is in Christian mythology.
The ancient Greeks saw dreams as messages from the gods and the deities as well, because we have evidence, archaeological evidence. They would go to the temple of Asclepius and they found dreaming benches, as well as accounts of how not only would the priests and priestesses of the god go to sleep to beseech him to heal the people coming to the temple, but the people going to the temple seeking the god out would go to sleep on these benches and interact or attempt to interact with the god in order to heal themselves or have him heal them.
So in the ancient world, dreaming was seen to be a way to interact with or contact the gods or source energy. If you want to divorce the deity aspect from it, it's a way to connect to source energy. That reasons that the ancients may have held dreams in such a sacred spot is dreams are a pure experience. We're not able to stop and analyze the situation necessarily because our brain is generating these images. It's already busy. It's already engaged. So when we're dreaming, all we can do is be present in the experience that is happening. We're not able to separate ourselves from it.
Not unless you're lucid dreaming.
I have never been able to do personally. So there's something very interesting about the dreaming state and almost the enforced state of being where your brain is engaged in dreaming, and so it has to be quiet and it can't start to analyze the situation until after you wake up.
The monkey mind is not possible.
The problem-solving or the problem-seeking brain is not engaged.
Yeah, the analytical right side of your brain is down for the moment.
Exactly. So the question is, how do we use dreams in our practice?
And there's quite a few ways that you can. Of course, the first thing is if you live near a Native American reservation, picking up a dream catcher would not be a bad way to catch those nightmares that you don't want to have to experience. You can catch your children's nightmares if you feel that's part of the problem. You can do it for yourself if you are a person who has constant nightmares in your mind.
Additionally, if you're the sort of person who has nightmares very, very often or night terrors, using the imagery and the themes from those to do some shadow work and try to reintegrate your shadow self into your everyday self might be a way to help ameliorate those nightmares.
Another thing you can do is make sleep pillows. It's usually filled with rice and dried chamomile and lavender buds. Those two herbs and flowers relax and soothe you and are able to bring out more peaceful vibrations and theta waves, which we need in order to sleep.
That's very helpful. Sleep spray. You can make your own sleep spray with essential oils and grain alcohol. Or if you are comfortable purchasing sleep spray, there are literally thousands of options available on the market. Again, lavender and chamomile are good. For a while, my wife was using one that actually had peppermint and eucalyptus, which can wake the brain up, but they soothed her.
So that makes sense. When you're breathing at night, it helps soothe you so it's easier to breathe.
Which helps you engage in a deeper sleep because when you're sleeping, you're breathing more deeply too.
Yes. So some of the crystals that I personally like to use for dreaming and engaging in dreams is amethyst and moonstone. So I will do a small crystal grid, usually underneath where I'm putting my head, of amethyst and moonstone.
I like taking a quartz crystal point, just a clear quartz crystal point, and you can pop that in some salt to cleanse it and then stick that in your pillowcase or under your bed. And that can also help project protective, cleansing energy to give you more restful sleep and more gentle dreams.
Selenite can do the same thing. You don't even need it anywhere near your bed as long as it's in your bedroom. A tower of selenite will help clear the energy and allow you to find a better state of being when you fall asleep, so that way you can go into REM deeper without feeling stressed and anxious.
And Himalayan salt lamps will do the same thing. In terms of engaging your brain to have specific kinds of dreams, if you're seeking the answer to something, or you want to engage prophetic dreams or visionary dreams that purposefully have a deeper meaning, there are a bunch of ways you can do that as well. One of my favorite ways to do this is to take a particular tarot card, maybe one that has significance in a reading that I've just done, or one that I'm trying to path work, or one that has significance for the year. I've pulled my tarot card for the year. That's my theme. And place it somewhere in your bedroom. You can place it on your nightstand so that you can see it first thing when you wake up or last thing before you go to sleep. You can put it on your ceiling. For the same thing behind the headboard, or if you're not concerned about it getting damaged, you can even put it in your pillowcase. You could also print an image of your tarot card. Most of the tarot decks, you can get images for personal use. So if you want an image of the symbolism, you can print it off and use that, and then you don't have to worry so much about it being damaged. You can do the same thing with runes, rune stones. My runes are made of bone, or, whatever they're made of. Really any kind of oracle or tarot that you use. You can choose a significant piece of those or a set and put it somewhere in your bedroom so it will influence your mind when you're asleep.
So that's all we have on our topic for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you'll join us again soon. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest for more witchy wisdom, both here and on our blog. And you can also check out our original art on Society 6 for sacred decor and more. Thanks again for joining us. Go make some magic and live your best life.